Hello everyone and welcome to match day 6 of the first Choker Challenge Cup. I'm Malcolm Payne, an international master of chess from the UK. I'll be commentating on the fast and furious chess phase of poker. I'm delighted to have with me tonight Jeff Gross, a poker professional with over $5 million of earnings. Jeff will be giving us his insights into the poker in Choker in the betting phase. My thanks to Chess24 for hosting this tremendous competition, and I'm sure you'll all want to get involved in Choker, in which case, if you haven't done it already, download the app from the Apple Store or from Google Play. Tonight, we have the final of the Choker Challenge Cup. Players competing for the right to play Hikaru Nakamura. So this is the final eliminator, and we have from Canada, Rosen, from St. Louis, Eric Rosen, and from Canada, Alexandra Botez. We've both seen them in action twice before. Jeff, how did you consider the poker styles of these two? How do they compare in the betting phase?
Yeah, I saw some good discipline from both players. We did see Miss Botez actually go with a bit of an aggressive style. I saw a couple of times where she pushed the action against Bill Perkins, who he himself is known as a bit of an aggressive player. So it does show, I think she's willing to battle. She's definitely willing to put the pressure on and go all in on a particular clash when it's on, a big stake on the line. So I think she's a little more aggressive. I do feel like she has a little more poker knowledge. I know she sort of dabbles in Twitch and crosses over into the poker space a bit and seems to have a decent understanding of the game. So I like her as a slight advantage in this category. At the same time, we saw Eric Rosen play very disciplined as well. I saw him make some good folds, and I think he understands when he has a good hand, when he doesn't, and sort of how to keep his opponent in the game when he has a good hand and not lose them. So I give the advantage to Ms. Botez, but I think they both have a good discipline and understanding of the poker aspect of this betting phase. So I think it's going to be close to call, but I would give the nod there to Ms. Botez.
Yeah, it was real interesting against Bill last week. She bet she went all in, even though she didn't have a queen. And in the post-match interview, I asked her, well, you didn't have a queen, the strongest piece that there is in chess, and something that having a queen or not having a queen can really unbalance and make a huge difference in the chess phase. Why did you bet? And she said, well, I kind of felt there wasn't much chance that Bill had a queen. And of course, she was absolutely right, which I found very, very interesting, that she's developing some kind of instinct for this game, perhaps probably by just practicing an awful lot. But Bill gave as good as he got, didn't he, in the chess? I thought he was a little bit unlucky to lose last week.
Yeah, they both won 3-0 in their matches, so perfect record, which I don't think that'll be the case today. I think the cream of the crop has risen, and I think there'll be some blows both ways. But last week, definitely Bill, I thought he showed some good chess ability. We saw that he did win within a clash. He won some games and played well. And Miss Botez was, I like calling her Miss Botez by her Twitch name, but Alexandra, she definitely knows that she was up against a pretty tough opponent. I think she maybe even was underestimating a bit last week, just in terms of ability, and did realize he could play once they started to battle. So this will be fun. This could go either way. It's going to be, I think, tight. I got a feeling it's going 3-2 today. I think it's just going to come down to the wire, and I think both players now have progressed through this tournament, and both have a pretty good understanding of Choker and the nuances of the game. So I think we're going to see some really high-level stuff today.
We've also had a little bit of trash talking in the post-match interview. Last week, Alexandra said that Eric should be scared of her. So maybe she reckons she can take him out in the poker, because she does give him a couple of hundred chess rating points over the board. So we'll see where her advantage lies.
Yeah, well, it's nice we have video on both players, and we're going to get to see some. We'll get to see the reactions of both. This is a big one. This is the final, the challenger final of the Choker Cup today.
Final eliminator for the right to play Hikaru Nakamura, our Choker ambassador. Hikaru, we kind of think he's probably the world's strongest Choker player. I mean, he's very into poker. He's also the world's fastest and most successful speed chess player. So that combination of skills should make him very difficult to beat. But of course, by the time one of these two get there, they'll have come through 3 matches, and they'll be battle ready. So that won't be easy. And a reminder to tune into that next week, same time, same channel, wherever you're watching this. It looks to me like Alexandra's setting up the game. as you can see when in Choker, when the chess phase begins, you've already got a king and a pawn on the board. There are 3 phases to the game. First of all, you see them getting their Choker cards. You get 5 of those, which you can then place on the board in the placement phase, and how you place those is of vital importance, as we'll see later. And then it's the chess phase, and you only have 180 seconds, 3 minutes for everything to complete all your betting, all your placement, and deliver checkmate. And time has proved really, really important in all of these matches. Okay, Jeff, I think we're off.
Here we go. Yeah, always important. It's fun, getting the cards drawn for the pieces. It's always nice to see how you're running for the day and what kind of luck you may have off the beginning. And we see Miss Botez, I believe she's there was some raising. There's gonna be a fold right away. So
yeah, he had minor piece and pawn, bishop or knight plus pawn, which we think is probably the worst kind of hand you can get.
Yep. So again, early on, not a big deal, just to take a slight deficit and fold on an early stage. The blinds not being so large, it's not a big deal. But they do raise pretty quickly, so you don't want to be in a habit of folding too often, although it could be the difference. Releasing a weak hand right at the beginning gives you it's a smart play, right? You don't want to be battling against someone who's really competent in chess with the inferior hand. Absolutely. That's for sure.
These hands are balanced at the moment. So they're 8 points each. A rook is worth 5 in chess, and a knight and a bishop 3 each. So it's 8 each.
Yep. So far. We see an all in. Look at this. There's just ripping it right in. So the pot is 18,000 and a slight edge for Miss Botez. She does have a 2K behind. If she were to lose in this particular game, she would still get to play, I believe, right? Because the big blind would be 2,000.
So I think, yep.
Yeah, she would still be able to play. We did see some debate about that last week. Bill was not familiar with the rule and didn't understand that if you couldn't cover the big blind, you were out of that particular clash. And that is something I pointed out, I think, a couple weeks before. Mentioned it's different. Whereas poker, if you have any chips left, even if the big blind you can't cover, even if you only had an ante, per se, in poker, you would still be able to be in, and if you won, continue in the game. So I think that was something that Andrew and all of Choker was looking at. They thought about it, and I think that's going to be something that is going to be discussed in much further detail.
I was discussing it with him actually on Wednesday and yesterday. And one idea would be to let you play. The reason the rule is there is so that Choker is over quickly. That you don't have too many draws, and then the clash lasts a very long time. But what I said to Andrew was possibly that we could just have a maximum of 2 draws, and then the person with the biggest pot wins at that point. But at least you can still play with, no matter how small your stack is, for at least 2 more games. So some kind of compromise might be in the air there.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to be thinking. It's good to be always trying to, again, major sports, they go through rule changes, little nuances, and it's important you want to have everyone be open to new ideas. So I think it'll be cool to look at, and there might be a variation of that. So we'll see. But for today, the rule stands, and again, this is for all intents and purposes, this is all in here. They got a huge pot early on, 18,000 in the middle.
She's threatening. Well, it's checkmate. There's a threat of checkmate on the back rank there that I've just shown. But of course, there's another threat. Eric set up a counter threat with a queen threatening Alexandra's rook. So both sides lining up on the other. But Alexandra actually is slightly ahead in terms of pieces. She's got a minor piece for a pawn. She's got 2 extra points. They've both got a queen.
It's interesting that the queen was revealed early on both players. Normally use that at the end, but that was both players electing to show their hand a bit early, which I don't know. Do you think I would think normally it makes sense to have the queen last, but
absolutely.
What do you think?
I think a bit of intimidation's going on here, actually.
Yeah. But I wonder, but that to me it would make sense to do it last. But strong hands. This will be interesting. And Miss Botez is not really sure where to put it. She sees a bit of a dilemma.
that was a clever placement by Eric. He's literally saying, my first move, I'm going to snap your queen off the board. What are you going to do about that? So that gives Alexandra something to think about. She's got a bishop to come on the board.
Well, she's got a lot of clock winding down here.
That could hurt later. I think she needs to figure out where she's going to put that. She's going to have to block. Maybe block it there. Put the bishop on g6, maybe on a white square, because she's got a black squared bishop already. No? Oh, she's countered Eric's queen. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's actually... But that was a terrible blunder, because Eric has made his move and given check. So it's not going to be queen for queen. It's going to be Eric winning the queen. Oh, and now Alexandra is going to lose the bishop on the rebound. And she is, to all intents and purposes, she's lost here. Eric is a queen and a pawn against a rook ahead. And you're going to see him move his pieces towards Alexandra's king, and that's going to be that game. That was actually all over in the first two moves, effectively. Alexandra's got absolutely no chance of surviving this. Eric just stopping any nonsense down the back there with the check that Alexandra was planning. There comes the knight in the middle of the board, a fantastic piece. A knight in the middle of the board. It controls 8 squares. A knight in the center of the board controls 8 squares.
2.5 to 1 lead on time as well. So I mean, everything against her here.
She's done for. He's now trying to exchange, bringing the queen in towards the king. I think we're going to see this pawn's going to start coming up the board as well. Eric the e-pawn, yep, there he goes. And now he's threatening to make a really nasty pawn chain, a very powerful pawn chain. There it goes. Bishop's getting forced back. Now maybe the knight's going to move in. That's it. So now there's real pressure on this d6 square. This e7 square. This e7 square is very vulnerable. In fact, I think Alexandra has resigned. That game was just only going one way.
But now, is that something? Would you call that a major blunder? Was that something she really could have avoided? She was just looks like she's got her coffee out. Maybe she just woke up, or was that she's getting a late start? You would expect her to not miss that opening. Yeah,
what she did, she tried to be clever. So Eric was attacking her queen, she countered his queen, and she just missed that he could get the queen away from the attack because he had the first move, because he was white. That was a blunder.
Again, we do. It's worth mentioning though, she did not lose the clash, so she is all in here. She's got it's a 4,000 chip pot, and she's got to work cut out for if she wants to go up 1-0 in the clashes. She's gonna have to win numerous games in a row. But right now it's she's at a pretty good deficit with being all in here, and only 4K she can win total.
Gosh, this is interesting. We've got pawn chains, bishop each. But Eric's got a queen to come. I think he's gonna keep that in reserve. That's going to be a bit of a disappointment for Alexandra when that arrives. Notice these pawns all connected. These players know what they're doing. Pawns defend each other because pawns capture diagonally. That means they're defending each other. Okay, that's a really good square for a rook. It's got scope. Can come down here and harass the bishop. So those two bishops are pretty good. They're one white, one black. Now that must have been a bit of a disappointment for Alexandra, because Eric's queen has just landed on the board and is threatening to invade down here in a straight line, not like mine. He's also threatening to infiltrate this way with the rook. And this is pretty much an overwhelming material advantage, I'd say. It's queen and rook against bishop and knight, which is 14 points. 9 the queen is worth, 5 the rook is worth. So 14 points against 6, and that's overwhelming. I mean, this will be an absolute miracle if Alexandra can survive this, Jeff. She really hasn't got any chance. All she can really do is just try and keep all the pieces defended, keep everything together, and hope that Eric can't deliver mate in 117 seconds. He looks pretty confident, doesn't he? I think he's enjoying this position. So Alexandra running with the king. What Eric needs to do, actually, if he could just bring his extra bishop into the game, maybe here, put a bit of pressure on this square. Oh no, what he's doing is gaining space. He's forcing that bishop away with the pawn move. Bishop gives check. King moves to complete safety. That king is so beautifully placed, surrounded by a bishop and 3 pawns. There goes the bishop, putting the pressure on the e2 square, which I'm just highlighting here. So I think it's time for the... Yep, bishop takes the pawn. Alexandra's just running. She's got nothing else to do, really. All she can do is run. She might as well take that bishop with the knight. The knight's not doing anything else. She's also running out of time, as you say. So now it's queen and rook against 2 bishops. Absolutely no chance. Alexandra just needs to make quick moves and hope that Eric messes this up. Now, there's a juicy square on d4 for a black queen. If he can find a way to get his queen on that square, that would be there it is. That's the plan. Queen heading both for d4, and which Alexandra blocks, but it's coming in around the back. a1, queen a1 check. It's going to be, and rook c2, and it's going to be mate very, very quickly. Or mate this way, queen b2 mate is coming now, or queen b2 and rook c2, or queen c2 mate, even better. That was, gosh, I didn't see that coming, but it was mate in 2, mate in 1, it didn't really matter. Eric has won that clash. So
there it is.
That was quite easy.
That was super easy. It looks so. Wow.
So that's 1-0. That's 1-0 to Eric. I think Alexandra was a little optimistic betting there, again, without a queen, I thought. But always a risk if your opponent's got a queen, because the queen is the one piece in chess. It's the most powerful piece in chess. It can move up and down. It can move diagonally. It's got so much scope that in a relatively simplified chess position, where you're only starting with 12 pieces instead of 32, the queen, as in a normal game of chess, the queen is devastating, as we saw there.
Well, 1-0, and I mean, again, having a little chips behind, she did get the early edge with the fold, but it just wasn't enough, and we see Eric go win-win and take the 1-0 lead. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Again, this is your call on the chess perspective. How big, if 1 out of 100, if she's able to, do that, then I don't know if that's like, if it's just a completely uncharacteristic of her, or if that was just something that, do you think that's abnormal for her? She should have picked that up.
Yeah, I think so. I think she might be getting a little carried away here, Jeff. I don't know. This is slightly out of keeping with her previous play against her previous opponents. But there's still a long way to go. Best of 5. Maybe she just figures she's trying to unsettle Eric early on, but it's backfired, and Eric immediately rewarded with a queen. A queen is, I mean, it's interesting in the poker book by International Master Byron Jacobs. He describes a queen as being almost worth 2 queens in poker. That queen, okay, so Eric drew another queen that's demoted to a pawn. It's gone purple. Oh. That's interesting, Jeff. I mean, Eric's got such a strong hand. Queen, rook, bishop, and demoted pawn. It's enormously strong. No wonder he raised. I think Alexandra's outgunned again here on the pieces. Yeah,
this is breaking Eric's way so far. I mean, this is going down 2-0 would be tough. We have seen Bill come back, but I just you don't want to fall down 2-0. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was the most epic comeback. Bill Perkins coming back from 2-0 down to beat Matt Staples 3-2 on match day 3. Alexandra's. I think Eric's going to keep his queen till the end, maybe. Alexandra's only got 2 rooks, a knight, and a pawn to deploy. If she knew what was coming, she'd just put them in a huddle round the king. There goes a rook. So those 2 rooks, interestingly, Jeff, those are the rooks. Those are the starting positions for chess. So Eric could actually castle now on both sides if he wanted, move his king and his rook at the same time. Also, these rooks are beautifully placed, threatening to beam up and down the board. So Alexandra's cut one of the rooks off with a knight. That knight moves in an L shape, so it's covering the A8 square. Eric's got a queen and a bishop to come. Wow, the bishop could actually be really nasty as well as the queen. Maybe the bishop will just attack the knight. No, the bishop's set up there to deliver a very unpleasant check. I don't think she's going to last long here, Jeff. I think this game's going to be over real quick. Just the sheer disparity of forces. Okay, Alexandra's got 2 rooks to deploy, but Eric's got 2 rooks on the board already. What's she going to do? And little does she know there's a queen on its way. All she can do is huddle. It's a shame she hasn't got another knight. We've had a few situations here where 2 knights are incredibly good. Very, very hard defense to break. They defend each other in a kind of a double L. Well, Eric's smiling. I think he knows, Jeff. I think he knows he's got this one.
Yeah, he's liking the start, that's for sure. He's liking it a lot.
Let's see Alexandra's reaction when another queen comes on the board. She's going to be fed up with this. Boom. Yeah. That was not well received, Jeff.
Yeah, this is, he's loving it. He's loving what's going on.
Oh, there's threats all over the place here. We're giving these arrows showing all the possible checks drawing these lines, all the possible checks that Eric could deliver on his first move. And Alexandra, she just can't cover them all. Oh, she just can't cover them all. And she's down 2-1 on time, 124 to 63. This won't last long. This won't last long. Maybe bishop to f5, threatening queen to h8 mate might be or close to mate anyway, just driving the king to f7. Or maybe bishop g6 check. I mean, there's just too much stuff here. Too many threats. He's going to start with the check. Yeah, he just wants to bring the king into the wide open spaces and deliver mate, I think, probably in 4 or 5. Okay, now maybe bishop b3 check would not be very sociable. Bishop g6, oh, that's a sweet one. That's a very sweet one. That's a sacrifice. It's offering the bishop because if king takes bishop, there was a queen reverse mate. That was clever. King runs away. Queen gives the check anyway. Now I think it's time to bring the rooks in. So maybe connect them with king f2. And the rooks are talking to each other. No, he's not interested. He wants to keep the queen going. Doesn't really matter. e5, trying to give a bit of cover to the king. I think it's definitely time to bring the rooks. Time to stop messing around with the queen and the bishop. Come on, just bring the rest of the guys. Bring everyone, as we say. Bring everyone to the party.
Yeah, smiles. Both players having a good time, but definitely Eric having more fun. And do you see a big time advantage as well, even though, you know,
2-1 again,
last game it didn't matter, but yeah, it's
Oh, he's castled. He's castled. That was queenside castling, which is met by a counter check. Oh, that's remarkable. Eric really didn't see that coming. That's so funny. He's trying to show off there. He was actually trying to show off with that castles queenside. But Alexandra hit him back with something called a discovered check, which means that one piece moves, but a different piece gives the check. Eric hadn't actually seen that coming. He's lucky that he didn't lose his queen or something in that interchange, but fortunately, it just doesn't matter. It's still overwhelming. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Alexandra blocks a possible check along the 7th rank there by playing rook d7, but it's just delaying the end. Eric has actually slightly discoordinated himself in that bishop isn't beautiful, but rook to the 6th would be a killer now. Knight f4 stops the deadly queen e6 check threat. Great play by Alexandra to survive this long. Yeah. She's actually ahead of him on the clock now. Oh, no, she's not. She's down for a few seconds. No. She's lost on time. She's lost, but she'll avoid the ignominy of being mated. She'll lose on time first. There it goes. Yeah, Eric won. Well, he wasn't very efficient there, but it really didn't matter.
Yeah. Takes the lead. Yeah, he's looking dominant so far. Looks fresh and ready. I mean, like I said, I don't know if that's coffee or tea, but Ms. Botez, she's looks like she's just waking up today and she's got a tough opponent. You know, maybe against Bill she could come in not fully dialed in, but I think Eric has definitely shown he is dominant. And as you mentioned, having the speed, being one of the best in the world, it's definitely an advantage. And in this game, you gotta play quick, gotta be on your toes, and he's looking ready to just go for. He's looking for the sweep. He's got the 2-0. I said I thought it would go the distance, but so far it's looking one-sided. Yeah.
Eric's had the good luck with the cards, though, hasn't he? I mean, he's drawn a lot of the stronger pieces. Alexandra's been a little bit unlucky, but she hasn't. Maybe she hasn't just bet accordingly. So that's one of the problems that she's having. Eric lives just down the road from the fabulous St. Louis Chess Club, which recently organised a very interesting form of chess called clutch chess, where some games were worth more than others. And in a funny way, that kind of happens in Choker. Some games, of course, are worth more than others. Just depends on the size of the pot. But Jeff, is Alexandra really just betting a bit too aggressively here?
It does seem like she's ready to go. I mean, she's just kind of firing. She's inflating the pots, but it can work. Also, you can get folds, right? When it's right. In No Limit Hold'em, one of the big things is in tournament poker, if you're the one that's going all in, it's a big advantage because you give your opponent the ability to fold. So you are actually giving them a chance to maybe make a mistake or to not risk, right? So if you're the aggressor, it's an advantage. So I will say that in general, that's a good strategy. It can add work in your advantage if you are the more aggressive player because you get your opponent to kind of fold maybe too much, right? Like obviously you don't know if they have a good hand, but if you do get some folds, like it can add up. So there we go. She's fired up.
Yeah, she's pumped up now.
She likes it.
I like that parallel with poker. That going all in and being aggressive gives you the advantage. There was a 19th century chess player. I think he was called de la Bourdonnais. He said, "He who attacks has the advantage," he used to say.
Yeah, I like that. That's for sure. That's the case. I mean, for sure, it rewards aggression. So let's see if it can work out for her. If she can get a game back, clash back, and force a fourth clash. Because right now 2-0, and she does have a queen and a bishop. So nice start there. Oh, I'm sorry, that is.
She's queen and bishop against two bishops. I think Eric's folding again.
There we go. She's leaning on him now. She's got almost a leg out. She's got a decent lead here.
So let's see. What's the blinds now? They should be up to at least 1.5, right? Big blind? Right, it's 2,000. 1,000 and 2,000. Eric's... Oh, queen and rook. Oh, goodness me. Queen and rook against pawn and pawn. That is the biggest disparity you can get, I think, on more or less on the first deal. She must fold. Yeah, okay. Okay. $3,000. Okay, Eric, pawn and pawn. The one thing about pawn and pawn, it's not necessarily a fold because if you get a third pawn, it gets promoted.
He's all in.
He's all in. He's all in with two pawns. That's hilarious.
And she actually, he's going to force a fold there.
Oh!
There you go.
Wow.
And he was all in with two pawns.
She won't like that. When she sees the video of this afterwards, she won't like that.
No, that was... see, that's also part of the thing where, it's her life on the line. So she's literally 2-0. If she loses this clash, it's all over. So Eric he has that extra sort of fearlessness built into that play, right? It's not as critical for him. So, all right, she's going to go ahead and decides to raise. And that's going to be a re-raise.
That's not bad. Rook and knight.
And Eric but it likes the queen there.
Oof, rook and queen. She really needs a queen to come through.
Pieces are pretty strong looking. There's a full house. That's the Empress, correct?
Yep, the Empress, absolutely.
Empress is...
that's going to get promoted then. So the third piece always gets promoted to a queen. So the third knight is promoted to a queen. That's transformed it. That's completely transformed the chances in this match. So Alexandra actually doesn't have any pawns. So Eric's got a pawn. He's building up that pawn chain again around his king. She must win this one. She absolutely must win this clash, this game and this clash. Knight on the board. Okay, both sides have a rook and a queen to deploy. That rook should... So it's interesting, Jeff. Alexandra could castle on the right-hand side. She could castle what we call king side, the side that the king is on when the game starts. But she's got no pawn cover there, so she probably won't be doing that. Okay, now where to put the queen? That's the big question. Where do you put the queen?
Yeah, I mean, this is all or nothing now, right? This is Miss Botez is at risk if I'm Rosen, does have 2.5K behind. This pot is massive, 17,500. Each player start with 10,000. So this is this could be it. I mean, this is essentially, this is game, set, clash on the line.
Yep. Okay, there goes the queen. That A2 square, it's a popular square in the placement phase for the queen. It just often threatens to drive into the heart of the position. Oh, but this is going to be tough. Both sides have got queens. So Eric has cleverly put his knight there, stopping any monkey business down the h-file with the rook. He's got himself well set up, but he's well down on material. What Alexandra should be doing actually is probably trying to just exchange. As we've discussed before, if you've got more pieces than your opponent, the more that you exchange, the greater your the disparity as a percentage. It makes it easier to convert if you exchange. So, for example, if Alexandra could exchange queens and a pair of rooks, then she'd have rook and 2 knights against a knight, which would just be overwhelming, and she would just win. Okay, her first move is interesting. It's no actual threat, but it's kind of saying, okay, I'm just guarding that square. Eric tries to move his king to a better square. Alexandra's going to maybe move her knight, or maybe she could move her queen there. Try and put Eric under a bit of pressure on h7. That looks really strong to me. Rook comes to c3. Not totally sure what the idea of that is, unless she's planning to swing it across there and do more damage. But Eric's well ahead on the clock. He's got a chance to win if just on the clock. He's losing on the board, but he's winning on the clock. These 2 knights at the moment, not really making much of an impact. So for the moment, Eric is surviving. He's getting away with the fact that he's got far fewer pieces. Alexandra's going to have to probably leave at least one of these knights to defend the king. That's her problem. But if this rook were to swing across here and then invade down here, and then the queen came in here, that would be curtains. Eric looks like he doesn't immediately see a defense. He's running down on the clock. Yep, he's down on time for the first time. Okay, he centralizes his queen. Very logical move. Don't think that's going to prevent Alexandra executing one of the threats, or is she just going to offer to exchange the queens? That would be a great move. Yes, queen e4, offering to exchange the queens and creating threats on h7. Brilliant move. Yeah, she looks like she means it. Eric's got a horrible choice now. Yeah, he's had to exchange. Okay, so now all Alexandra needs to do is activate all her pieces, which she's doing. Oh no, she just blundered? No, she hasn't. No, she's activating all her pieces, but she needs to try and exchange another pair of rooks. That's it, get the king out of the way, make it safer. She needs to exchange a pair of rooks.
Even too now,
yeah.
So
she needs to exchange rooks. In fact, she needs to just pretty much exchange anything. Okay, rook on c7 to e, threatening rook e7. Okay, now the knight needs to come in and attack. Yep, the knight's coming in, but the knights are not threatening to give checkmate. She needs to get focused here. She needs to just bring this rook in here, this rook in there, take that pawn, get some pieces off the board, simplify it, and then just get on with it. 41 seconds she's got left. She needs to just get on with it. Eric's down to 27 seconds. Okay, that didn't do much. Knight e6 check. Okay, that could be unpleasant. Finally get a bit of action on the chessboard. Now, knight d8 check, also not doing a whole lot, to be honest, but maybe the knight comes to c6 now. Maybe the knight comes here and attacks e7. Maybe. No rook there. I don't really see what that does. King d7, exactly. Okay, now we have some action. That was clever from Alexandra. The threat there is rook c7, which Eric immediately stops.
Clock issues getting tight.
Yeah, she's got a check. The king can come to e6. It's all going to come down to the clock. She's just hung a knight. Has she not? Yep, there it goes. Oh, she didn't see that. She mustn't panic. 15 seconds to 10. Anything could happen. Give a check. Night checks. Night checks are what do it. That's right. And the pre-move. There came the pre-move. The pre-move didn't work. She lost valuable seconds. She thought she could make a pre-move, but it didn't happen.
Too tight.
It's 6.5 to 6.8. Knight c4 check. King d4. E4 check is coming. Knight d6. E4 check hits the king.
Wow, this
Knight
is
takes
chaos.
pawn. Knight e6. Any move now will do. Any move now. She grabs the knight, but Eric's going to win this, I think. Marginally 2 seconds against 1. 0.8. 0. Where Eric goes down, I think. Alexandra, how did she do that? How did she do that?
I couldn't tell, but at the reaction, I could tell. That's the only way I knew what was happening. I blacked out, and then I saw her celebrate. A big celebration.
That was blitz technique par excellence. Blitz technique par excellence. Move the piece. The rule of thumb, Jeff. Move the piece nearest to your thumb. Game on. We continue.
Wow, that was wild. That was absolutely wild. Now, interesting to see though that was not a clash win. So Miss Botez feels good, but it is a 3-1 lead right now. Actually, well, the pot is 5,000. So Miss Botez has 15K, and I'm Rosen's gonna have to win a few in a row here if he wants to take down and go 3-0 in clashes, because she has a nice chip lead here. Wow. Everyone, they need a break. Might have to call a water break mid-game. This is that was intense.
Goodness, I don't think we've seen a game of blitz that went that close on the clock, or should I say the chess phase in Choker. I don't think there's been a match that was that close on the clock. I'll have to see the replay, but I think that when Alexandra won on time, she couldn't have had more than 1.5, 2 seconds left, something like that.
Yeah, it was there. It might have been just like a second. We need a replay. We need to get the official time. That was like the Phelps Kavik touch out in swimming. That might have been hundredths of a second.
Hundredths of a second.
I don't know who's controlling the clock, but that was close. Wow. You
know Michael, right, Jeff? Is that right?
Yeah. I lived with him for 7 years in 2008 to 15. His chess game's not. I can't say anything about his chess game. His poker game, he knows how to play poker, but chess, we never played new chess. But chess is fun. I'm getting more into it.
What's he doing now, Michael Phelps?
He's got 3 boys, so more doing a lot of talking, just kind of appearances and then talking with his children and his wife. So he's in Arizona, and he's kind of settled down now.
Wow.
But yeah, it's. I told him I think he did check out the Bill Perkins one. He watched a bit of that match with Miss Botez, so he thought it was interesting. Just doesn't know enough about chess, but yeah.
Oh, we should get him some chess lessons and get him into Choker, definitely.
Choker, or maybe dive right into Choker. I think again, it's so appealing. It's just more for someone that is looking to start in chess. It almost makes more sense in a way. Kind of more fun, I guess you will. If you were just starting from fresh, I would imagine, right? If you've been in chess for a long time, it may be, I think it's a little bit. It's a new concept, so you might kind of say, I don't know how authentic it is, but it is sort of like practicing the end game. That's how I would look at it. You're practicing the ending part of chess, which is fun. But if you were just going to say, all right, I'm going to pick up chess from scratch, or if I've played poker, played, let's say, backgammon or some other type of game that's a little more fast paced, I think it's easier to relate to, where you can sort of it's more quicker and more tempo, because I think chess is it can be intimidating, just like poker or any game that you're learning for the first time. It's a bit of an undertaking, or golf or whatever sport. There's so many things to learn. If you have to learn all the opening moves, I think at least in Choker, where there's like 80, I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong, 82 trillion or
82 trillion, exactly.
Yeah, that's so it's kind of an open playing field. But whereas in the chess moves, the opening moves in chess, if you don't have the fundamentals down, you're going to get beat really badly right away.
Yes.
So I think that's appealing.
You're right. I mean, if you're a poker player who's not played much chess or not played chess at all, this is the ideal opportunity to learn chess and get into Choker. You won't have to worry about the chess openings. You don't have to worry about a lot of the strategies, because Choker is just purely the tactical phase in the main. And so this is the ideal way to become a dual gamer. Play both of them in the same game. So Alexandra Botez pulls it back to 2-1. We're waiting for clash number 4 to start. It looks to me like they're going to be starting it soon. Eric's on the app. Alexandra's singing as usual. Okay, I understand we've got a little bit of time before the next clash, which gives me an opportunity to remind everyone that this time next week, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK, and 10 p.m. Central European time, we will have the final. One of these two will be playing Hikaru Nakamura for the Choker Challengers Cup. Hikaru Nakamura, one of the world's best chess players, probably the world's best speed chess player, and also very into poker. He will be a formidable opponent. If you'd like to join the Choker community, then just download the app. It's free to play, available from the Apple Store or Google Play. I'm pretty sure Alexandra understands that she's won that clash. So that's 2-1. So maybe Jeff, your prediction will come true. Maybe we'll get a 3-2.
Yeah. Well, you can see it literally came down. It would have been 3-0 by a second. I mean, it was that close to being over for the all over. So we are going to get to battle some more here.
For disciples of blitz chess, there was a very funny pre-move moment. One of the great things I like about this Choker broadcast is you can see the players trying to pre-move, and Alexandra had anticipated one of Eric's moves, but it didn't happen. So she had to kind of undo the pre-move and then make a different move, and that cost her, I don't know, it felt like ages, but it was probably only about 5 or 6 seconds to reverse that, but it could have cost her the entire match.
Yeah, that was super intense.
In the end, sometimes when you've got absolutely no time at all, the best thing to do, just play random moves, really strange moves, even ridiculous moves, just something that whatever the opponent wasn't expecting is usually the best move. So I had an episode a couple of days ago in a blitz game, just pure chess, when I was about to deliver checkmate. It was all over, but I only had like 2 seconds left, and my opponent played the most ridiculous move, just giving me his queen for nothing. It doesn't affect the outcome of the game, but I was so confused it took me more than 2 seconds to figure out that I just had to take the queen. So I lost on time.
Yeah, it's interesting. That is another exciting part of chess when you throw in the time constraints. It does add another element. So it's you gotta have some tricks, right? You gotta throw your opponent off, and you gotta do some unexpected things at times. And in a situation like that, I mean, we see what it almost was the difference between the whole thing. And Miss Botez seems like she's almost singing. She's so excited about that result. She doesn't want to get swept, and now it's anyone's game still, 2-1.
Have we ever seen Eric lose a clash? I think he won. Didn't he beat Simon 3-0 and Raphael 3-0? I think.
Oh, that's a good point. That might have been his first bloodshed there. I think.
Yeah.
That's true.
Wow. So, a recap then. We'll have the betting phase first. As soon as the game starts, you'll see cards starting to appear with chess pieces on. If somebody gets 3 of a kind, then that piece will be transformed. We don't, and we even don't allow 2 queens. Although players can have 2 queens in Choker, if they get dealt 2 queens, one of them is immediately downgraded to a pawn. But in some circumstances, actually, you can have. If you get too many pawns, you can have one of your pawns promoted to a queen. But those cards you will see will be a different colour. So those will distinguish them from the other cards. A little note about the actual deck. There are 44 cards in a poker deck, 16 pawns, 8 knights, 8 bishops, 8 rooks, and only 4 queens. So if you get a queen in Choker, of course your opponent's chances of getting a queen are immediately diminished, which makes it even more powerful. Okay, off we go. Clash number 4, betting phase.
Oh, and there we see the 2 pawns again for Mr. Rosen, and we saw him go all in or make an aggressive move. This time, though, he's going to just check.
Mm-hmm.
And he does get promoted.
Oh, he's got a
Third
queen and a
pawn
rook.
becomes the queen.
Queen and a rook. Alexandra's got 2 rooks and a bishop. That's approximately equal. She's just slightly down.
She is going to start putting a couple chips in. And, nice.
Oh, that was nice for Eric.
He's going to be happy to see that. It gets the Empress, actually.
Yep. So
And Miss Botez's hand looked a pretty couple weak pawns there.
yeah, 2
Pot's
pawns she
big.
could do without.
Wow, did he... So she has a decision to fold, call to 7K, and she does give it up.
Well done. Good call. Or I should say good fold.
Yeah.
A good call to fold.
Yeah, good decision. So again, almost a 2-1 chip lead though. So and that's part of the game where there's luck. The pieces you draw on the cards, and Miss Botez decided she didn't want to play for her game set clash life on the line with that particular hand. But as you see here now, the big blind 1.5K, and actually there's a fold, so some chips going to go back to her, which is nice. She's got to like to see that. You always like to see folds, when you don't have to risk, you don't have to play, you just pick up the pot. It's going to make it a little tighter now.
Right. Earlier in the match, she would have played that previous hand, I think. The two deals ago, she would have played it. She knows she's facing elimination if she loses this clash, so it's...
She's going to pump it up, and I think... he's going to re-raise. He's putting it in right there, so she's going to love to see that. She's got the queen bishop, so she's happy to be all in here. Eric gets a pawn. He doesn't like that. Pawn bishop. We see pawn and pawn knight. A bishop, pawn knight bishop. So
she's ahead on pieces. She's the one with the lady. The lady has the lady.
Yeah, she's got what she wants to see. She's got a big pot with the best hand. That's all you can ask for to start.
There goes the knight by the king. Always good to have a knight near your king. Bishop tucks in. Alexandra is going to put her bishop on the longest diagonal of the board. It's very powerful. It's radiating power all the way across the board. Eric puts his rook there to attack it vertically from g8 down to g2. Alexandra will have to deal with that somehow. Or maybe she'll counterattack. How she likes this. She likes these two bishops together, Jeff, because they radiate this power together. Mm-hmm. One on the white squares, one on the black squares, so they control everything. They're like, we call that a battery.
Yeah, and she's got the queen to bring in at the end.
Yep, here it comes.
Yeah, it looks like a nice looking board for her.
I think the queen maybe goes... Where should the queen going to go? The queen should probably go somewhere where it's got access to the king. I don't know, I'd be putting it... Can't put it there because it'll get taken, but maybe c2 or somewhere? Well, she's
letting the clock burn a bit, but still,
it's a big decision.
Relatively close, yeah.
Big decision where to put your queen. I think maybe c2 because there's access to a4 to give check, maybe. That's a possibility. Or d1 with the same effect. Yep. That's where she's thinking. Yep, she's done it. She's put it on c2. That's what I thought. So now Eric will have seen that. He needs now to think about where to put his rook for defensive purposes. It's not very good. It's not very good. There's a nasty threat of bishop c6 coming down to give check. Maybe he should just try and eliminate that threat. Maybe, I don't know, maybe put the rook here? No, he doesn't care. Okay, let's see. He's just lining up his rooks on the on your top right-hand side there.
He looks a bit, you see him shaking his head a bit. He seems a bit, he knows he's at a deficit here.
Yeah.
Her board looks very strong. Her board does look really nice.
Bishop f3, that was a nothing move. Rook g5, but knight e4 comes in, hitting the rook. So Alexandra just got the bishop off the attack from Eric's rook. That was just the purposes of her first move. Eric now trying to cause trouble, trying to give a check. Alexandra will deal with that easily. Oh, seems a shame to move that knight from its good square. I don't understand why she did that, but okay. It is incumbent upon you, if you've got more pieces, to try and take the initiative to try and attack. Okay, rook check. Eric's the one who's doing all the attacking here, though, with fewer pieces. There he is, hassling the bishop. Bishop goes to the knight, wants to exchange. That would be an excellent plan. But this knight, she should just correct that mistake, get that knight back on the good square. Instead, she brings the bishop in with check. That can't be a bad move. And now she's bringing the knight in, where it is an absolutely dominating piece. That knight controls 8 different squares. A knight in the center of the board controls 8 squares. A knight on the edge, for example, say there, would only control 2 squares. It's like an octopus in the center. Okay, you can see Eric is trying to line up on e2. Alexandra counters that, attacking Eric's rook on f1 because the knight moves in an L shape, remember? Rook gives the counter to the knight. Alexandra's not that coordinated, and in particular, this queen has yet to make a play. Queen really needs to make a play at some point if she's going to win this game in the time. Knight comes in.
Dropped under a minute, but...
Yeah. The knight's coming in, though. He's threatening e7. That's it. Now she's setting up what I would call a constellation. A bishop defending the knight, attacking the pawn. Now her pieces are starting to coordinate. That's going to give Eric a problem. Bishop's going to come to c5, threatening e7. This could be very nasty. Eric looks like he might have gone for a counterattack. Queen check. Don't think Eric's counterattack is going to get him very far, though. Does she go all in now with bishop c6? Does she? Yes, she does. That's basically in chess going all in. Queen letting Eric have his threats on to her king. God, Eric's really interested in that. Why did Alexandra move her king to the back rank? It could get mated. Fortunately, it's covered by the bishop. But goodness me, why expose it in that way? Alexandra just have to hope that that queen takes bishop check is basically decisive. I think she's decided that it probably is, actually. Eric's just, I don't know. Eric did not mean to hang his rook there because now he's lost his knight and his knight was defending his rook. So we've got a very clean position here. It's queen against rook. Alexandra needs to start attacking on the black squares. It's 28 seconds against 30. She needs to start focusing on those two black squares that Eric's got. E7 and F6, those black squared pawns. She needs to get an attack against those.
He didn't like it. He saw it. He just said, like... he's
just blundered into a mate. Well done, Alexandra. Yeah, she's focused. He's blundered into a mate. He knew he'd blundered. Choke mate.
Look at that. Look at the emotion. She is, she is fired up.
We've got the full routine.
Look at this.
So where are we on the chips now, Jeff?
15.5 to 4.5, so about a 3-1 chip lead, but did not end the clash. So it is still 2 clashes to 1, but she has got him in a bad spot. He's essentially all in here, and she does get a queen. They both get a queen. So we're going to see it go all in a call for sure. And she's even calling, raising, same thing. It's all in. 9,000 in the middle. So again, must win for this clash for Eric.
Eric just got a double promotion.
Wow.
Goodness me.
I don't even know what happened, but his screen lit up like a Christmas tree. There was a lot of things. It'll look good for him, whatever happens.
Oh no, this is mad. I think they've both got 2. I think this is there's going to be so many queens on the board. Yeah, this is going to be mad.
High octane here. This is,
exactly.
Power pieces.
Okay, I think Eric's setting up his favourite pawn chain on the king side. I think we're having a competition to name that. The frozen Rosen would be mine. Okay, rook, bishop on both sides. Here comes Eric's first queen. Oh, that's a nasty, 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 nasty placement, threatening queen g8 there. Alexandra's going to have to deal with that somehow. She can't allow something coming down the back there, but at the same time the queen is also coming this way, or maybe heading for this square. That was extremely unsociable, and I actually don't like Alexandra's bishop. It's stuck behind a pawn. I don't really get the idea of that, actually. Okay, she's offering a queen trade. She's really worried. She's offering a queen trade, but here comes the big bazooka. The second queen. Yeah, look at that. Alexandra cannot believe that. The second queen on the board from Eric Rosen. That's is insane. An absolute killer.
That is scary.
That is an absolute killer.
Is that even, how big of an advantage is that? It's got to be
huge.
Over the moon, right? Like you almost
huge.
Can't.
No, if you've got 2 queens, he's a queen for bishop up, and perfect for him. He's able to exchange queens, which makes it as a percentage. The material disparity is enormous. The material disparity is 9 against 3. So if you took out the rook and 3 pawns each, it would be 9 points, which is a queen, 3, which is a bishop. And you can see he's already focusing in on that bishop. His rook has come down to h7 to pin that bishop to the king. The bishop can't move. We're just waiting for Jerry the G pawn. Yep, there he comes. We call him the G pawn because he's on the G file, coming into Oh, queen takes f6 check. Yeah, that was a blunder from Alexandra, but it doesn't really matter. She had no chance. Eric will clean up now completely. It's all over. He'll queen up all her, clear up her pawns, give checkmate to the king. It will be all over. We might even get what's called a staircase checkmate here. Maybe there's not enough open space. Alexandra will probably resign. Eric's got 117 seconds. On a bad day, he could probably do this in 3.
Yeah. Well,
it's the staircase or lawnmower checkmate. He's anticipating her next move, and there it is, queen b5 mate. Game over. Eric wins the pot.
Choke mate. Bam.
Choke mate.
Choke mate. I like that. This is there we go. It's 11-9. So again, this is now he just like that. He's evened it up basically. And it is coming down to this. So this is now pressure on Alexandra Botez, and she sees she's gonna. Oh, she doesn't notice. She's gonna call her fold. She's not raising. A delay.
Rook and a pawn.
Maybe picked up on the timing tell. And there's it all in, and she doesn't. Now she's gonna fold. And he gets the lead. It looks like
he bullied
just like
her there.
That.
He bullied her there a bit.
Yeah, I think she's been undecisive, and now it's a reverse. So look at that, with a win and a fold, 13-7K. So pressure on. This is game, set, match, potentially here with the pressure on Miss Botez. She gets the queen demoted. So wow, and
so she's got queen and pawn effectively.
Yeah, that's very unlikely. There's more queens coming though.
And she'll suss that out. Yeah, 2 bishops, not too bad. She'll be happy with that, I think. Queens and bishops, I mean, she's going to be deadly on the diagonal. She's got 3 diagonal capable pieces here. We're going to see crisscross. This is going to be crisscross chess. Not too much of the up and down. It's just going to be diagonals. Deadly diagonals. That's what we're going to see here, I think. So she'll put her bishop maybe some square like g7. She's putting the pawn first to give the king a bit of protection. Eric setting up his frozen Rosen.
Yeah.
Oh, a parallel one from Alexandra. Interesting. Eric putting his rook on the open H file. There it goes. Now that bishop, I would be putting that bishop maybe on g7. Yeah, exactly, because then it can ping down there. Give check. It also covers this square, which Eric's rook was eyeing up, so that's handy. Great placement from Alexandra. Okay, Eric's just only got a bishop and a rook. He probably hasn't realized Alexandra's got a queen to come. Okay, rook next to the king, that makes sense. Alexandra's bishop, where will she put that? I think arguably maybe next to the king, actually. Maybe put it on d7. I like that square. Or she could stick to her guns and create the battery, put it on f7, that she likes doing that. Yep, she's created the battery, covering h7. That was clever, actually, because that square was open to Eric's rook. That was a neat placement. Those 2 bishops radiating all this power on the deadly diagonals. Okay, Eric pops his bishop near to the king, but here comes the queen. He's not going to like this. He's not going to like the queen when it comes.
All right, we're into the chess phase.
So, queen and 2 bishops against 2 rooks and a bishop. Eric doing the castling.
He loves the castle.
I warned Alexandra about that in the interview last time, that Eric's got this plan. So we saw 2 pieces move at the same time there. That's what you're allowed to do in chess. You castle your king. The king goes from e1 to g1. The rook goes from h1 to f1. And in an instant, your king has got lots of cover. Now, Alexandra's best move now would be to exchange that bishop. Okay, she should exchange that bishop. No, she's playing very cautiously. But now what she's doing is she's driving a pawn down. This pawn is what we call a passed pawn. It has no opposite number. It can charge down to the end of the board. Eric's just going aggressive. He wants to crush this bishop. The bishop doesn't want to allow that. Bishop's attacking the rook. Rook has to escape. Nothing to stop Alexandra just executing this plan. This pawn is coming all the way down the board. Yep, there it is. There's real danger for Eric that pawn could become a queen. But Alexandra's best plan must surely be to exchange off this defensive bishop. If that bishop is exchanged, Eric's king is going to be very weak. And there we have it. That's the first move towards that. I think she wants to play bishop d4. Eric sees that immediately and pins the bishop. King gets out of the way and says, I want to move my bishop, clear off, get lost, get out of h7, get out of my face. Bishop's coming here next, I think. There it goes. Eric's in big trouble now because not only is Alexandra threatening bishop takes bishop, she's threatening the rook, which is defended by the bishop. Yep, she sees the pieces real fast. She knows she's got the advantage.
Even on time.
Even on time.
You can really see she wears her emotions on her sleeve. I mean, she's raising the roof. She feels it. She thinks this is hers. She has to if she wants to continue. She's got to win here.
Eric's pre-moving. He's anticipating bishop takes bishop. He's anticipating exchange of bishops. But yeah, I think she might as well do that and get the pawn down to the end of the board. There it goes, a new queen. I think that's the first promotion we've seen in Choker.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Or I don't
That's
remember.
A pawn promotion.
Oh, no,
if a pawn gets
once.
to the end of the board.
Saw one.
Did we? Maybe we did.
I think we might have, or it was going to happen. Now I'm not sure. We're going to have to get clear. It's rare.
Okay, but this is interesting now because actually the way this is panned out, it's not that easy for Alexandra to win because Eric has kind of got a fortress. He's going to set himself up in such a way that Alexandra won't be able to break through, and then it'll just be on the clock. So it is a win. I'm sure this position is a win if she plays it right, but she needs to play it right. It's not easy to see how she can win, and Eric is threatening to move this pawn forward, and then that really would be a strong fortress. Then I'm not actually sure how she would win. Goodness me. Yeah. Eric's done this very cleverly. That is classy play. Classy play, but she's a few seconds ahead, but she doesn't want to spend too much time thinking about how to win. She should just move. Just make moves. Come on, Alexandra, you just need to pre-move here. Anything will do. Anything will do. Although we have this funny rule in chess that if you get the same position 3 times on the board, then it's a draw. Okay, Alexandra's trying to activate the king, trying to get the king nearer to Eric's king, giving him check.
Uh-oh, she doesn't like it. Something happened.
She's going backwards now. Really, Eric? Are you sure? Oh, that's clever. Eric's just set her up there. If she took the pawn, he would have won her queen. Oh, Eric's making... I don't think... But that wasn't so good, actually.
The clock is so tight.
Come on, take the pawn with check, Alexandra. Keep checking.
She's losing time.
She's going down. It's down to the last second. 4.5 against 4.2. 4.5 against 4.3. 3.8. No, she's so fast. Alexandra is so fast.
Oh, my goodness.
She is the quickest. She is a blitz bombshell, this woman. She's unbelievable. When it comes down to no time, she can make more moves than anyone. I've never seen anyone play so quick. She will be a match for Hikaru. If she takes the 5th clash, if she wins this match, if she wins clashes 4 and 5, she will be a match for Hikaru if it gets down to what I would call like the bullet phase, when you've just got a minute left. Unreal. Wow, absolutely unreal.
That was wild.
It looked like Eric was winning. He looks bemused, Jeff. He's thinking, how the heck did that happen?
Wow.
But we're waiting for the server to confirm to us. We're waiting for the server to confirm to us that Alexandra did actually win. That happened so quickly. Goodness me. It's like we've got our own form of the English Soccer Premier League VAR. We need the video action replay.
Wow, that's exciting. Those were 2 amazing finishes we've had so far.
It's funny, Eric played such a tricky move. I didn't have time to explain it fully, but when he moved that pawn forward at the death, pawn to g7, giving check, if Alexandra had taken that pawn, Eric would have played rook across to g6 check and won her queen, and then he might have been winning the resulting position. Hard to say. But she sidestepped that. She dodged it brilliantly. She saw it coming, and then, I don't know, did she make 3 or 4 moves in a second? I don't know. Incredibly fast.
Wow.
So the pot has adjusted. Let's just see where the pot is. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the server confirmation, we understand, from the control room. Gosh, that final phase was... It was also surprising. I thought Alexandra was playing it perfectly, and then yet when it was rook and 3 pawns against queen and 2 pawns, it really wasn't easy. This kind of thing, a fortress, I think Eric might have set up a fortress. It's essentially a setup of pieces and pawns that you can't break through or without ruinous material loss. And Alexandra couldn't find a way through it. We had this mad phase where she was trying to find a way through this fortress, which possibly wasn't there. And normally in fortresses, if you're playing slow classical chess that can go on over 7 hours, then you've got enough time to try and figure out how to break a fortress. When you've got like 20, 30 seconds on a clock, it's almost impossible in practice to tell how you can break through. I think in the final position she was probably winning, because I think Eric was about to lose his pawn on e4. But we'll see. We're still waiting for confirmation of who's actually won that pot. Yeah,
we see Eric checking the replay looks like on YouTube, trying to see what happened. Came down the wire. He's been on the short end of 2 photo finishes thus far today. And probably, kind of thinking to himself, hey, I'm the best blitz player in the world. Like, what's going on here? This is where I'm supposed to shine.
Eric's pretty good at blitz. I mean, he's a pretty accomplished blitz player, but I don't think he's as fast as Alexandra at the death. She's incredible. I think she's got real mouse skills and pre-moving skills, and she somehow turned that round. Or not, as the case may be.
Yeah.
Okay, we've had confirmation from the server that Eric timed out. That's what it seemed to me, Jeff. I don't know what you saw.
Yeah, no, look, that one actually seemed more clear to me than the first one. It was very close today.
And Alexandra had about a second and a half maybe left. We'll have to see on the replay after the show. But it's funny, actually, because I thought, what I often say, this rule of thumb, just move the piece nearest to your thumb. When I say that, I don't necessarily mean it literally. I just mean make the easiest move. Make the move that takes the least thought, the least movement of the mouse. And perhaps Eric's undoing there, if he does indeed lose this particular battle, was that he was actually trying to force the pace. Even with only a rook against a queen, he was actually trying to force the pace in the position. And that actually takes time and takes thought. Maybe he just should have sat there and just moved his king up and down and just responded to whatever checks that Alexandra was giving, and maybe he would have won on time. Yeah, or at least maybe repeated the position 3 times, because if he'd have left his rook and pawns exactly where they were, he might have got away with a draw, because sooner or later, if Alexandra gives too many checks, she might give the same check 3 times.
Yeah, really intense.
Wow, the whole match is going to turn on this decision, I think. But we've had confirmation that Eric lost. Yeah, Alexandra looks like she's celebrating Eric losing on time. Which means we should get set up. It's 2-2. We're going to see the score updated at the bottom of your screen, and there it is, 2-2.
Oh, she is.
Jeff, your prediction has come true.
Wow, by a split second. Eric looks a little. This is the thing. This is a real thing. Momentum in any sport, any game.
Yep.
Momentum's real. I mean, that's a two faces telling a different story. I mean, she is actually standing up and dancing right now. She is feeling good, and Eric is scratching his head. He's wondering where this all went wrong, and she's really fired up. So let's see here. This is where it's interesting to note. We've seen this 2-2. We saw Matt Staples, Bill Perkins, but here, it's this is where I think being aggressive can really bode well. I think you might get your opponent to talk himself into a fold, and I'll wait. I don't want to take a weak starting hand. So I think aggression here is going to be rewarded a bit. If again, you never know what your opponent has, right? That's what I say in poker. It's why being aggressive, though, it gives you that extra chance of winning because your opponent could fold. So let's see what happens on this phase, the first part here.
But I guess you have to control your emotions at the same time, right? I mean, it's one of these things. There was a great article in 538 today.
Don't tell Miss Botez to control her emotions. She's having none of that. She wears it on her sleeve or sleeveless shirt, but she wears her emotions on the screen. So, look, this is a nice starting hand from Eric, and not so much from Miss Botez. That
5 plus 3, and Alexandra's got the classic bad hand, minor piece. Oh my goodness! Pawn.
Oh no, she almost misclicked raise. She folded though. So first blood goes to Eric's slight lead again on the first portion. She's licking her hand. She's ready. I don't know what she's doing, but she's looking for anything she can do in the betting phase to get some energy, some advantage. She has got a slight deficit now. Really not much pawn. You don't want to see the pawn. The pawn, although we know that can turn into a promotion. So, she just goes with a fold. Interesting.
I don't think that's... I don't know.
Probably not GTO. That might not be game theory optimal in this situation, but...
Yeah. We don't think pawn's an automatic fold, do we?
No. We saw Eric go all in with that at one point and blast in. Oh, pawn again.
Hilarious.
Wow, a lot of pawns out. And
we have 16 out of 44 pawns, Jeff. So that's
there's the promotion for Eric, and Botez is not liking how these cards are falling.
She needs another pawn. She needs another pawn. There's just a better 1 in 3 chance of a pawn.
I wonder if she knows that rule. I'm sure she knows it, but I wonder if she realizes how likely it is to get it, because she seems to not be in love with the pawn.
I mean, 5 pawns out, so there's 39 left.
Wow, she's thinking of folding. No, she's gonna call. Okay, she's looking for that pawn. Doesn't get it.
But she didn't get it. Oh, dear.
And he's going to put the pressure on here.
She should probably fold.
He's making a sizing there. You see, he went with the sizing instead of all in, I think, trying to entice her into the pot because he was hoping to play to keep her in. So he didn't want to just go all in. You saw him downsize his bet, and she still didn't want any part of it. I mean, really, she's down to 5,000. She's lost about half her stack, and they haven't got to the placement phase even.
So she's small blind this time.
And she's not liking this.
The lousy pot again. A lousy hand.
She's getting the hand stacked against her.
She should fold, though, really.
Wow. I mean, and Eric is thinking, hey, this is easy. I mean, she's already down to... She is low. Wow. She is going to be all in here in a second.
4 hands lost. 4 hands played, 4 hands lost for Alexandra.
Yeah.
So her next play is pretty much forced, right? I mean, she's
close to all in. She's got 33,700. Yeah, she's... Oh, wait, can she not cover the big blind?
Oh, she's folded that. Oh, that was a mistake. If she's folded, she'll be out of...
Oh, can she not?
Yeah, she's out of chips. If she shouldn't have folded, she had to play. She won't be able to cover the big blind.
She looks very visibly upset, and I think she maybe blundered there. Didn't realize that was the case. Similar to Bill Perkins, and again, it's not like it was their first match. I think this is clearly stated in the rules, and man, I think not just for that point, but for the pawn. Folding in that spot where I think that's a mistake in terms of, again, the likelihood of getting another pawn, 1 in 3, almost to get it. And she would have had a queen potentially there and just folding. And then it kind of spiraled and she ended up just folding out of the match, which is unfortunate because she played so well. She was so excited and hyped up to get it to 2-2. But that looks like that's it. I mean, that's 3-2 and pretty anticlimactic. But at the same time, it shows you that there's some nuances to the game, and you really got to be aware of all possible circumstances. You hate to see it like that, but at the same time, it's everyone has the same information, and it's unfortunate to see Alexandra Botez, who played so well, battled back to go down like that.
Yeah, it is a shame because if you've had 2 pawns, your chances of getting a 3rd pawn, which then gets promoted, are 72%, Jeff. So I don't think it's a fold, and that looks like she's blundered and lost it. But well, there we have it. We see it will be in the finals next week at the same time. Hikaru Nakamura, the world's, in my opinion at least, top speed chess player, against Eric Rosen, the man who's got fought his way through 3 matches to get through to play Hikaru Nakamura for the Challengers Choker Cup. I guess he was a little fortunate. He had some pretty good cards, didn't he, in the first 2 clashes? But Alexandra came back absolutely storming play, incredibly fast chess right at the death. And I actually thought that she was favourite, didn't you, Jeff? Going into the 5th clash.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to note too. I think she may even be aware of that rule that you have to cover the big blind, but maybe she didn't realize because
how big it was.
She folded. Yeah, she might have thought, well, I'm just going to be all in next hand. That's fine. I'll take my chances on whatever I'm dealt there based on getting really lousy hands. But I think maybe it was it might have been by a 250 chips, because I think it was 4K big blind, and she had
4K big blind. She had 3.75, right?
So I think it was just a bit of a calculation, maybe just error or not understanding and realizing, because you would think if you fold. It's also interesting that that's done by time, because I think how they do it is it goes up each match or each game, right? It's not done by a certain time the blinds go up. So it was just every time she folded, the blinds jumped up right away.
Exactly.
So that's interesting, but all right, unlucky.
Well, Jeff, thanks very much for commentating with me. Some very, very interesting strategies on the betting, some crazy chess. I'll see you next week for the final Hikaru Nakamura against Eric Rosen. Really looking forward to it. And thank you for your insights into poker. I think that I'm certainly learning an awful lot about poker every time we do Choker, and I'm sure that the audience are as well. So thank you so much, and see you next week.
Thanks again.
I'm now going to go and do the post-match interview with Eric Rosen, so do stay around for that, and let's see how he feels about how this game came to an end.
$500 every turn. So it was, it's something you really have to be aware of and keep track of.
Yes. So, Eric, I understand we are now live on Chess 24. So
okay.
you got through 3-2. I mean, at 2-0, it looked like you were absolutely cruising. And Alexandra played some unbelievable speed chess at the end. She seems to be able to reel off like 3 or 4 moves in less than a second. I mean, I think in both occasions when you ran out of time, I thought it was her who was going to run out of time.
Right. Yeah. No. The pre-moving was really impressive.
Yes.
And she's a pro in this. Like she does a ton of blitz and bullets, and I'm pretty sure she's been trained since childhood. So it was slightly terrifying. And even
Yes.
in the situation, I think there's towards the end, I think in the second clash, or no, the final clash that she won, she had this
Yes.
queen against my rook, and it was so
Rook and
hard for me
pawns.
to pre-move. Yeah.
Yes.
Even though I had this fortress, it's hard to pre-move because she keeps checking me, and I don't know where. It was hard to predict her pre-moves too.
Yeah, it was interesting your strategy there, because I thought what you'd do is just sit tight. You had the fortress. She couldn't win in purely chess terms, I thought, or at least it would be incredibly difficult to figure out. So I thought really that you should just let her check you, but you thought that might be losing because you found this incredibly clever G7 check, and if she takes the pawn, you win her queen, and you were actually making the running. I thought maybe since you were ahead on the clock, maybe you just had to sit there, try and figure it out, because by the time she checks you 20 or 30 times, she'll probably have repeated the position, right? You might get a draw by repetition.
Which I was honestly expecting that. And then at some point I thought I could try and play for a win, and I was trying
Yes.
to like make progress with my king. I think I missed some opportunity to run my king to G7. But yeah, she played remarkably well, and not only like in these time scramble situations, but also in the betting phases, she was able to get me to commit with worse hands.
Yes.
And I mean, there were many occasions where she just had a huge material lead. So I don't know if I
Yes.
could have improved in some way, but yeah, she was a very, very tough opponent.
The really interesting thing for us was that pawn kept coming up on the first 2 cards, and it's not clear to us that that's a fold. I mean, your strategies were different. I guess you were looking at the size of the stacks of both sides before making your decisions. But do you think it's automatically a fold?
Yeah, it always depends
think...
on what the blinds are and how much each side like is committed. Because once the blinds get to a certain point, you're almost just pot committed with the big blind.
Right.
However, yeah, I'll admit I haven't done the exact math on whether like 2 pawns are better than a pawn minor piece, but it's definitely towards the lower end of the spectrum of like hand strength. So like
I mean, you've
think
got
in general,
72.
in general, you want to at least see the next 2 cards to see if you're getting promotions.
Right. I mean, you've got a 72% chance of getting a 3rd pawn and a promotion if you have 2 pawns.
That's true.
Which is,
but like even 2 pawns plus a rook, it's still I think below average just in terms of a three piece hand.
Yes.
So like it's tricky, like, and you do have to account for all these like potential promotions or demotions and special hands. So it has been hard to work out the math, but that's only these things. Like sometimes when you go all in with 2 pawns, it's very much of a gamble.
Yes. I have to ask you about the queenside castling. I thought that was extremely funny. You set your rooks up 1 on A1, 1 on H1, and you could have castled either side. And then you castled queenside, which I think took Alexandra by surprise, took me by surprise, that's for sure. But then she had a discovered check as an answer to it. Had you seen that coming? You had to look at the man who might not have seen it coming.
I'll admit, I was just trying to like sort of orchestrate some queenside castle with chokemate. I thought that would just be like the ultimate goal for that position because everything was winning. but then knight c5 surprised me. Like I forgot she could block the check and discover check. Thankfully, I'm just already up so much material, so it didn't affect things too much.
No, you had overwhelming firepower advantage there in the end. Well, right. Eric, look, thank you very, very much for your performances in these last 3 match days. It's been great, and you're now set up to play Hikaru Nakamura. But you're match ready, and he's not. He's been playing conventional chess, although maybe he's practicing on the app. What do you think your chances are against Hikaru?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I did play Hikaru many months ago in a choker match where it was not so formal, and the game was different back then, where the blinds didn't really increase. So it was much longer clashes. I'll probably have to go back and like rewatch and see his strategies. But yeah, I mean, in terms of just speed chess, like he's currently ranked #1 in the world for Blitz, one of the strongest bullet players online, if not the strongest. So I'll have my work cut out, but I'm happy to survive this one and just make it to next week.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and we look forward to seeing you there. So Eric Rosen in St. Louis, near the fabulous chess center, the heart of chess in the USA, and now the heart of Choker. Thanks very much. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks so much, Malcolm. Take care.
And a reminder to everyone that you can download the app from the Apple Store or Google Play. Get involved, join the community, and we'll see you here next Thursday, the 25th of June at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the Grand Final.